Hello dear students, today we will discuss the rest of the part of the chapter The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. In the first part we had discussed about two boys, the narrator whose name is Aram and the second is his cousin, his name is Murad. They had been Armenian boys and they had been related to Garogulinian. They belong to Garogulinian tribe. And one day in the morning, his cousin, means narrator's cousin Murad, comes with a beautiful white horse, and he taps on the window of his room, and he asks him to come out of the room if he wants to enjoy the horse ride. And now the narrator thinks that he is very much interested to ride the horse, but this question comes to his mind: from where has his cousin brought that beautiful white horse? Because he is very poor and he could not afford to purchase a new horse. And he also tells us about the honesty of the Garogulinian tribe. Then what happens next? Let's see. So a question comes to his mind that his cousin would have stolen the horse we had left here, let alone steal. Consequently, even though I could see the horse so magnificent, even though I could smell it so lovely, even though I could hear it breathing so exciting, I could not believe the horse had anything to do with my cousin Murad or with me or with any of the other members of our family, asleep or awake, because I knew my cousin Murad could not have bought the horse, and if he could not have bought it, he must have stolen it. And I refused to believe he had stolen it. So here he is telling us that the horse was before his eyes. He could not believe on his eyes, and questions were coming to his mind. But simultaneously he could not deny this reality that there had been the horse and his cousin was sitting on it. Even though I could see the horse, I was seeing the horse. It was so magnificent, so beautiful. Even though I could smell it, its smelling was so lovely. I could hear it breathing, it was so exciting. Okay, but I could not believe the horse had anything to do with my cousin Murad. How is this horse with my cousin? Or I don't think this horse has anything to do with me or with any of other members of our family who are asleep or awake at this time at 4 in the morning. Because I knew my cousin Murad could not have bought the horse. He could not purchase a new horse. And if he could not have bought it, then of course he must have stolen it. And this was the part I refused to believe, that he has stolen it, because we cannot steal, we are known for our honesty. No member of the Garogulinian family could be a thief. I stared first at my cousin. I was looking at my cousin and then at the horse. There was a poised stillness. There was pure stillness and humor in each of them, which on the one hand delighted me and on the other hand frightened me. So there was stillness as well as humor in this stare. I was staring at my cousin and then staring at the horse. On one hand, I was happy, I was delighted to see a horse because I will get an opportunity to ride it. But on the other hand, the presence of the horse with my cousin was frightening me, because we may be charged of stealing, and stealing was not the part of our tribe. We were known for our honesty. Finally, the narrator asked Murad. He asked Murad, I said, where did you steal this horse? He directly asked, where did you steal? He did not ask, where did you get this horse? Murad says, leap out of the window, he said, if you want to ride. Jump out of the window if you are interested to ride, come. It was true then. Now the narrator could not get the answer to his question, and he was sure that he has stolen the horse. It was true then. He had stolen the horse. There was no question about it. He had come to invite me to ride or not, as I chose. Now my cousin had come to invite me. Whatever I will choose, whether to ride or not. Well, it seemed to me stealing a horse for a ride. Now just see, dear students, what excuse was framed by the narrator or by both the boys for this horse and their views about the stealing. Let's see. Well, it seemed to me, narrator says, stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing something else, such as money. Stealing a horse it will not be counted as a stealing, because we have stolen the horse for a ride, or my cousin had stolen the horse for a ride, and it would not be the same thing as stealing something like money from someone. For all I knew, maybe it was not stealing at all, and as for my views, it was not a stealing at all. If you were crazy about horses the way my cousin Murad and I were, it was not stealing. And if you are crazy about the horses, same as me and my cousin, then it won't be called a stealing, thievery. It would not become stealing until we offer to sell the horse, which of course I knew we would never do. It would not become stealing. It will become stealing if we will be offering the horse to sell. And of course we are not going to sell this horse to anyone. So it won't be called a stealing. This was the excuse finally given by the narrator to himself, because he was also interested to ride the horse. So he says, let me put on some clothes, I said. Alright, he said, but hurry, cousin said. Means come out fast. Put on some clothes. I leaped into my clothes. I jumped down to the yard from the window and leaped up onto the horse behind my cousin Murad. So in this way he put on the clothes and jumped down to the yard from the window and directly sits on the back of the horse behind his cousin Murad. Says that year we lived at the edge of town, because they belong to tribes, and the people of the tribes are not having any permanent home. They keep on changing their homes. Wherever they find an appropriate place, they pitch their tents and they start living there. And after that, they leave that place and go to another place. So that is why he is saying that year we lived at the edge of town on Walnut Avenue. On Walnut Avenue, at the bank of the town, outside the town we had been living. And behind our house was the country. Country means village, rural area. Behind our house was a rural area. And there were vineyards, orchards, irrigation ditches and country roads. Means there had been fields. And there had been vines, belne, vineyards, orchard, means kind of gardens, irrigation ditches and country roads. In less than 3 minutes, we were on Olive Avenue. And then they started riding and they had reached Olive Avenue. He is quoting some names of the places which were very much near their home. And then the horse began to trot. Trotting, that is, it started running a little fast. Okay, this is the sound of trotting, means of the hooves of the horse when it starts moving, trotting. It begin to trot. The air was new. It was morning time, so the air was fresh and lovely to breathe. The feel of the horse running was wonderful. It was a wonderful feel. My cousin Murad, who was considered one of the courageous members of our family, began to sing. He began to roar. Now they were in a happy mood, so this cousin. He says, my cousin, who was considered to be one of the craziest members of our family, he started singing. Actually, he was not singing, he was shouting, like roaring. Every family has a crazy streak in it somewhere. Narrator tells us that every family is having a crazy streak in it somewhere. Means something strange in the family. Something, it may be related to the behavior of the family. You know, some families are known for very much soft behavior, others are known for their violent behavior. People, they are in the habit of abusing some people. So every family is having a crazy thing, crazy streak in it somewhere. And my cousin Moraz was considered the natural descendant of crazy streak in our tribe. And my cousin had been the natural descendant. Means descendant, you know, he had inherited the habits of that crazy streak in our tribe. Before him was our uncle Khosrow. Before him, our uncle Khosrow had been the craziest member. He himself, Khosrow is still alive, but now his place has been taken by Murad. Khosrow, he was also craziest member. And enormous, about him, an enormous man with a powerful head of black hair and largest moustache in San Joaquin Valley. A man so furious in temper, so irritable, so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." So here the details about another character have been given, and it was the uncle of both the boys, Aram and Murad, and his name is Khosrow. He is also a crazy member, he is also a crazy man, and his body had been enormous, means large. He was an enormous man with a powerful head of black hair. He was having powerful head, black hair, and largest moustaches in the valley, San Joaquin Valley. Nobody was having so much large moustaches, and he was a man so furious in temper. He was very angry man, and he was also very irritable. He used to get irritated soon. And he was also very impatient, and he could stop anyone speaking or talking by roaring. He would shout at that man if he had to stop anyone, and he would say, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." These were his words, and he used to repeat them time and again, whatever had been the circumstances. He will say the same dialogue, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." That was all. No matter what anybody happened to be talking, okay, he never cared for the words of the speaker. Whatever he is speaking, he will not pay attention to that, and he will try to silent him by saying this dialogue. That was all, no matter what anybody happened to be talking about. What happened once, it was his own son Arak running 8 blocks to the barber shop where his father was having his mustache trimmed to tell him their house was on fire. What happened once, this Khosrow, he was getting his mustaches trimmed in the barber shop, and his son Arak came to him running 8 blocks, means 8 buildings, leaving 8 buildings. He reached him to tell him or tell his father that, "Father, our house is on fire." And you know what did this man say? This man Khosrow sat up in the chair and roared. He started roaring. What? "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." Such a crazy man he was. The barber said, "But the boy says your house is on fire." Barber tried to give him some sense, but he says so. Khosrow roared enough. He roared enough, means he roared more than earlier, and he said, "It is no harm, I say." So such a crazy man he was. My cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of this man, and my cousin was considered natural descendant of this man. My cousin had inherited the qualities of this man. Although Murad's father was Zorab, He was not father of Murad. Murad's father's name was Zorab, who was practical and nothing else. He was a practical man. Okay, but this boy had taken qualities of this Khosrow. That is how it was in our tribe, and it had been happening in our tribe in this way. A man could be the father of his son's flesh, but that did not mean that he was also the father of his spirit. Yeah, that is correct, that a man can be father of his son's flesh. Means a man can be physically built according to the physique of his father, but it is not necessary that man inherits the qualities of his father. Means that man is also having the same spirit as is of his father. He may look like his father physically, but he won't be having the spirit like his father. This is what has been told here. The distribution of the various kinds of spirit of a tribe had been from beginning capricious and vagrant. So he says that such has been the nature of different people of our tribe, and these natures had been capricious, very, very strange and vagrant, like very, very different from each other. We rode and my cousin Murad sang. We were riding the horse and my cousin was singing. For all, everybody knew we were still in the old country. Now we had reached in the rural area, where at least according to some of our neighbors we belonged, means we had reached the old place where we had been staying in the past. We let the horse run as long as it felt like running. It means we were taking the horse to a very long distance. It was the first day for the narrator and he was enjoying. That is why they let the horse run as long as it felt like running. They had reached very far. They had reached a place where they had been staying earlier. At last my cousin Murad said, "Get down, I want to ride along." Reaching at a point, my cousin said, "Get down the horse. I want to ride all alone now." "Will you let me ride alone?" I asked. This narrator asked him, "Will you let me ride alone also?" "That is up to the horse," my cousin said. "Get down." He says, "You need to get down right now. That is not my decision. That will be decided by the horse whether it allows you to ride or not." "The horse will let me ride," I said. "The horse will of course let me ride." "We shall see," he said. "Don't forget that I have a way with the horse." This was the dialogue of Murad, as was the dialogue of Khosrow. Pay no attention to it. Okay, no harm, pay no attention to it. That was dialogue of Khosrow, and dialogue of Murad was what? "I have a way with." Okay, this was his dialogue. He will add a thing after with. "I have a way with a horse." He says, we shall see to it later on, but don't forget that I have a way. It means I can handle horses. I have a way with the horses. "Well," I said, anyway you have with the horse, I have also." Narrator says, "Okay, you would be having some way, but I am also having a way with the horses. For the sake of your safety," he said, "let us hope so. I am worried about your safety. But anyways, let's hope so that you will be able to ride it. But now, get down." "All right," I said. "But remember, you have got to let me try to ride along. But don't forget that I will also ride the horse and you will give me the opportunity." Then the narrator says, "I got down and my cousin Murad kicked his heels into the horse and shouted." Whenever we have to ride the horse, we are supposed to kick our heels into the lower belly of the horse. Okay, then it starts moving fast. So Murad kicked his heels into the horse and shouted, "Wazire, run!" He had given the name Wazira to the horse. So he says, "Wazire, run." The horse stood on its hind legs, means the rear legs, pichli tongue hai. It stood on its hind legs, snorted, means it started neighing, and burst into a fury of speed. It started running with a speed that was the loveliest. And here the picture is given. The horse is standing on its rear legs. It started snorting and then it started running fast. Okay, and it was a beautiful scene according to the narrator. It was the loveliest thing I had ever seen. My cousin Murad raced the horse across the field of dry grass on to an irrigation ditch, crossed the ditch on the horse, and 5 minutes later returned dripping wet. In this way, my cousin carried the horse. He took the horse for the ride and he rode it across the field of dry grass and then to an irrigation ditch. He also crossed the ditch on the horse, and after 5 minutes he returned with the horse and he was dripping wet. And the sun was coming up, means now it was the morning and the sun was also appearing in the sky, and they were supposed to means return the horse, because the people will see, other people will also see from where they have got the horse. So they had to make arrangement for the horse also. So dear children, today I will stop here for today, and we will be discussing the next part of this text in the next video. Till then, you keep reading and read with understanding. If you are having any problem, please make a call, or you may also ask about the things of this chapter in the online class. Okay, till then, thank you very much. Stay happy, stay good, take care of yourself. Thank you very much.